This is the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Jay Banky. It's 11 a.m. in the morning on Sunday morning, November 28th, 2021, here in Northeast Ohio. And yes, that team up north still sucks. While I give them all the credit in the world for getting a win yesterday, I will always and forever hate that team up north, just like I hate the Craftsburg Squealers and the Baltimore Ratbirds. And that leads us into our show today as we are here for a pregame show. This is the Voice of Land on the Big Play Network, your Browns postgame show for the Big Play Network. Now doing a pregame show. It's confusing, but we'll get it all situated this morning as the Browns are set to take on the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday Night Football on NBC tonight. Kickoff set for 8:20. And we all have a lot of things going on, so we figured why not wake up with the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network to do a pregame show. I'm Kevin Arnold. I'm one of your hosts this morning. I am joined on Zoom as he is taking care of a lot of things on remote this morning as well around the house. That is always Positive Jay. And here in studio with us, it is our producer extraordinaire getting all of this set up for us. He is Peter Tellett behind that proverbial glass. Did not want to try to set up a camera with an extra camera available this morning. Did not want to put one on his face still. So
the secret is there's always extra cameras available.
Peter always...
He doesn't want to outshine us, Kevin. He's got that handsome face. He doesn't want to outshine us. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. We appreciate everything that Peter Tellett does for us, as well as the Big Play Network, along with LPV Productions and our sponsors. First, of course, Vector Technical. They will get you the right person, the right job the first time. And DP Construction LLC, reach out to them for all your concrete construction needs. 330-217-4999 as I still try to wake up this morning, even though it's 11 a.m. The phone number again for DP Construction LLC, 330-217-4999. Big Browns fans over there with Tyler LaFrada and Uncle Steve, so you know that they will be tuned in tonight just like we will be here from the Voice of the Land. We are going to be tuned in to Browns versus Ravens, and I figure we start kind of looking in week in review leading up to this game. Now, I don't want to go back to the crap that was last week, Browns versus Lions. You know, Browns only winning 13-10, offense looking like absolute crap in the second half, defense giving up a long touchdown run. You know, it's gonna happen. They had was it DeAndre Swift? Is that his name? I don't even know. Like,
yeah,
I don't even know.
He's having a fabulous year. It's not just us, trust me.
Right, a guy that's one of those talented players, just like we've had in the past when we've gone through seasons like this. One of those talented players, kind of just stuck and not being noticed up there in Detroit. And of course, they lost again on Thanksgiving, so they keep on losing. They won't be the first team to go 0-17 because they have the one tie against those Craftsburg Squealers. Again, they've been able to muddle things up for a lot of teams this year. Browns, I guess, luckily got the win, and they're 6-5. I think one of the main stories coming out of that game that led into this week, though, I do have to ask you guys, any concerns with, we'll start with Baker Mayfield, not talking to the media after the game, walking off, not shaking people's hands, and then doing his media availability the first time on Monday through Zoom and kind of calling out the fans a little bit. That was a topic of conversation this week. Just quickly, Jay, any concerns with Baker's attitude or demeanor or the way he's kind of going at fans right now?
Before I get into what Baker said, I do want to say this. Everyone was like all this talking about a win's a win. If you want last week's game to be a win's a win, you have to win today. Otherwise, last week is just a foreshadowing that if we lose today, what was going to happen. With that said, I'm okay with Baker being angry. That's him. He's not, like you said, he's not a cookie cutter quarterback. He's not going to act like everybody else. You got to go out, though, and perform. That's all I care about.
You do have to go out and perform. If you're going to call out the fans that way, you got to go out and perform. Peter, any concerns with that? I mean, he's saying that, of course, I guess my biggest issue with people's concern or going at Baker for what he said about talking about the fans booing while they're on offense and they need him more quiet was that he started the press conference by calling out himself and how bad that he played last week. And in that statement, he never said that the fans booing them on offense he was not blaming that.
Nick Chubb chance, stuff like that. I think he was referring to.
Right, or Nick Chubb chance, or just these fans. Because I'm outside the stadium, I hear it. I can tell when the Browns are on offense, and I'm hearing like this loud crowd, and I can hear Chubb for a 5-yard run. I'm like, wait, why is? And then they switch over to defense, and then it gets quiet in there. Browns fans, or at least the ones
He's right. I'm sorry to say it. He's right.
Yeah.
But they cheer weird down there sometimes, man. They did it remember when the Myles Garrett chant started? That was when they were on offense. And he's like, hey, we appreciate you guys chanting, but do it when we're on defense during the commercial breaks, not while we're orchestrating offense. We need the home field advantage. I mean, I love Browns fans, but sometimes they cheer kind of fickly down there. I don't get it.
I'll say this: Browns fans that are in the stadium for games, or some of them that get a chance to go to every single game and have that opportunity, that affordability to go to a lot of the games, they don't necessarily represent the bulk of Browns fans and how we actually fan and understand the game and understand how to be fans. And especially I'm all for the tailgates. We do tales of tailgating on here. Some people, I think, take it a little too far, and they're just there for the party, and then they get upset when the team doesn't perform well. Well, you're not there for the team anyway, so why are you complaining about what the team does when you really don't care? I guess I'm calling out Browns fans to a certain extent, but that's a very small group. I want to say that with what I'm saying. That is a very small group of Browns fans. Peter, any concern from you for what Baker's saying, or do you agree with him, or is that just kind of just an additional statement he made and he understands what his role in this and why he has to play better, especially in a game like tonight?
I understand where he's coming from. I think the problem is that I don't know if it's a good idea to, call the fans out. And I think part of the problem is, for the last 20-some years, the fans have had very little to cheer about. So forgive them for being a little confused, because you have to realize we do have, on paper, we have a very high-powered offense that should be with Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
Yeah,
my mind went blank.
He hasn't been in there for a little while,
right.
so
But and even like the Ernest Johnson, with our running backs, with our receivers, with the drama of Odell behind us, on paper we should have a top-notch offense that should be able to put up big plays. And I think a lot of people still want to see high-scoring, high-flying offense, right? And the problem is the Browns, being a cold-weather team, it's a lot of ground and pound.
Yeah.
It's just the way that, this offense is really going to make points, especially with this cold weather. Now, like I said, the fans haven't had a lot to cheer about in the last 20 years, so you got to forgive them for doing that. But I agree, you're right. We need to have the fans need to understand that they need to make a lot of noise when we're on defense to disrupt the opposing offense. They can cheer, but they need to bring it down so we're not messing up our players, because that's when you get the self-inflicted wounds, the false starts, the players not being set because the timing's off because they can't hear what's going on the field. It's great that the fans have
booing.
Go ahead.
The booing reminded me of Tim Couch when he was hurt and then they cheered, and I thought that was total BS. Like, even I was young and I was pretty mad about that.
The booing's ridiculous.
To me, this dude is out there. He's putting his life and his body on the line. Like, he's beat up and he keeps trying to show up. And I'm for the proponent of saying he should sit, but if the doctors clear him, he has to go out there and play. Otherwise, everyone's going to call him out for being a whim.
Right.
When the doctor said you could play and you can't
no,
play.
I
He's in a lose-lose situation with his body right now.
Well, I agree, and I think the booing is ridiculous. I mean, I'll boo at a game, but I'm booing the refs because when we were there,
exactly.
there were plenty of times, you can boo the refs because they can be pretty awful.
Yeah.
I've seen better reffing, and honestly, I say that, but we've seen some pretty bad ref calls in the high school football too.
Yeah. We've seen it across the board. I think we can all agree on the fact that everything has been consistently inconsistent this year. I'm not calling out fans that, and we're not calling out fans because we're blaming them for all the issues. The offense has not performed well enough game to game. Baker has not performed well enough game to game. If he's not healthy enough and he's hurting the team while he's hurt, and they're giving him the option to play, guess what? He's going to play because he is tough. He wants to be out there for his teammates. Now, he did say if he felt like he was hurting the team, then he would sit. He said that earlier this year. If he's not recognizing that, someone needs to step in. Now, that's on the coaching staff. That's on discipline around the team to make that call and sit him down, especially in a game like last week against Detroit. I fully expect a guy like Case Keenum, who you're paying $6-7 million a year, to go in there and still win a game against the winless Lions, just like he did against an average Denver Broncos team on a Thursday night. I expect Case Keenum to perform a little bit better in a game like that, a healthy Case Keenum, to still get you to 6-5, allow Baker to get an extra week of rest going into an important game that we have tonight. We can all agree everything has been consistently inconsistent. You can call out whatever you want. It all goes into one big clump because it hasn't been good from any angle consistently enough this year for what we expected and the talent they put together. However, with it all being consistently inconsistent, tonight, everything is still in front of them. That's what's so crazy about all of this. Yeah, it's
everybody's been inconsistent.
And the AFC
the whole league has been out of whack this year.
The AFC is so wide open that you still have a chance. The AFC North is still wide open. The leader is the Baltimore Ravens. And yeah, they're 7-3, but they've played one less game. And their wins are just one more win than the Browns have. If the Browns were to win tonight, guess what? You're tied on wins. And Baltimore has to go and play Pittsburgh next week. And then, you got to play them again after your bye week. So everything is still in front of you.
At home.
We saw the Cavs when LeBron was here. Yeah, they were able to flip a switch, and it was a little bit easier. It's 5-on-5, and you got the guy. The NBA is a totally different league. You can't flip a switch in the NFL, but something can click. And something can click quick because NFL, not for long. Consistently inconsistent could not be for long. This team could find something that clicks for them tonight. And other storylines that started to develop this week was players are starting to come back. This team is starting to get the healthiest they have been all year long. And especially in a week where we all gave thanks and we got to spend time with loved ones. And things, I'm sure for a lot of us, got put in perspective. I know for me, things got put in perspective. That's for sure. With, just being around family and stuff going on there and trying to take care of those things. Sports will always mean more to me than just a game. That's why I say at the end of the show, it's, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. It means more than that. But we all recognize there are more important things in life. So maybe this team found some of that perspective themselves. And, sometimes that can help you refocus. And when you got a job to do, that focus, you focus in on things. Jay, I'm not asking for a prediction yet, but where do you think you'll be at, whether this team is 6-6 or 7-5 after tonight? With everything that's going on, will this still be a consistently inconsistent team, or can they really find something to click starting tonight after everything they've gone through this week and this season to get to 7-5 and go into a bye week feeling a little bit better about them?
Let's say they lose and they go to 6-6. To me, it's gonna matter how they lose. It's gonna be really important. And if they lose in a close game and Justin Tucker does one of his things and kicks another 65-yard field goal to win a game, then so be it. And let's say you come back after the bye week and you win, then you're right back where you're going to go and everything's still close. But if you win today, man, you're really on your way. You could really start rolling with this. And one thing I've been thinking about is with all this stuff going on this year and all the drama, especially with Baker, if he can overcome this, all this stuff, all those injuries, get healthy and start rolling and beat this team today, that locker room is going to be eating out of his hand. Bottom line, he's going to be the leader of that locker room. He's going to have it to him again.
That's true. That is very true. And those kind of messages, and you already hear from the players still believing in Baker and seeing him put it on the line. I think a lot of them already respect him. If he can lead them to a win tonight, and his play is one of the reasons that they win tonight, then that will go a long way in the locker room. And we will talk more about that on the other side of our first break here on the Big Play Network. On the other side, we will talk more about where, trying to predict, I guess, our own mentalities, thinking, if I'm telling you right now, before the game starts, after the game, the Browns will be 6-6, or the Browns will be 7-5, where will you be at with this team? Where do you think you'll be at with this team? We'll talk more about that, as well as the players coming back and who can have the most impact on this team, hopefully, as the team gets healthy. You are tuned in to the Voice of the Land here on the Big Play Network, your Browns postgame show now as a Browns pregame show.
Whether you're looking to hire new talent or start a new career, Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that has helped thousands of job seekers advance in their career with reputable partners throughout northeastern Ohio. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. With an above-average hire-in rate of 1 in 4 candidates, Vector works hard to connect the right person with the right opportunity the first time. Vector Technical hires for skilled manufacturing and light industrial work and is sure to have a career that you've been looking for. To learn more, visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com.
Good morning and welcome back to the Voice of the Land, your Browns postgame show, doing a pregame show here on the Big Play Network. Kevin on alongside always Positive Jay and Peter Tulloch this morning, and we're talking Browns versus Ravens. And this week, Browns are getting healthy. They're getting players back. One of the big storylines yesterday was that Jack Conklin, the offensive tackle, the right tackle for the Browns, and running back Kareem Hunt were activated off of IR, available, I believe, to play tonight at Baltimore on Sunday Night Football for the whole world to see. And Jay was just kind of talking about before we went to break kind of where he would be at if I were to tell you right now the Browns were 6-6 versus 7-5. Peter, quickly, if I were to tell you right now, before this game even started, you already know, after the game, you already know Browns are 6-6, and they lost, whether a close game or a blowout game, or Browns win by whatever margin it is, and they go to 7-5 and have the same amount of wins as the Ravens after this game. Where do you think you'd be at on either side of that coin?
Well, I agree with what Jay said before the break, is if the Browns do lose, it really depends on how they lose. If they go into Baltimore and just get blown out, then I think that's just a huge step backwards for this organization. They're especially having Conklin and having Hunt back. So, but if they go in and they lose a really close, tight game where the offense and the defense, are really playing well, but we lose on a field goal at the last second or something like that. I still think that's a little bit of a step back, but I think that's really showing where we can be, especially coming off that kind of lackluster performance against Detroit. Now, if they win, which is what I'm hoping happens, obviously, then they really have, they've taken control of their destiny in this conference, because if they win and they take the bye, they get some rest and can come back and win again. And the best thing that can happen is between this game and the next game is that when they play, Pittsburgh, the Squealers over there, that they just beat the crap out of each other, and neither one of those teams is really healthy when they have to face us again, just to help, because I'll take any help I can get to, improve.
I'll take a lot of soft tissue pulls in that one.
right, non-contact injuries,
couple
right?
quads, couple calves.
So, it really, out of the three scenarios, 2 of those are really positive for the Browns. So it really depends on their level of play today. And I think with having Conklin back and Hunt back, I think we're going to see an offense that's going to be a lot more productive.
I think no matter what happens tonight, it's going to be a long 2 weeks till the next Browns game. Now, if they lose and lose bad, that's embarrassing on national TV because guess what? At 8:20, there's only one option to watch for everybody, and that's on NBC, the NBC affiliates throughout the country. So my sister, all the way out in Seattle, Washington, will be able to watch.
Whoa. There's two options to watch. If you're not watching the Browns game, it's because you're rewatching this and you're DVR'd the Browns game. But that's it. Sorry to interrupt you, Kevin.
I mean, you're right. You're right. I mean, if you want to just keep just watching us on replay and listening to us on replay, that's always the option because we have a lot of fun here. So, you don't have to go through the agony of the Browns losing, but, you watch us and the Browns win and then you miss the brilliance and the excitement level of that, especially, for those that, like me, they got
DVR's for, man.
Yeah, that is what the DVR is for. But if you're like me and like all of us, we got to get up early and go to work the next day. Probably won't be a lot.
No, I know. I'm just being the goofball that I am.
I just know that no matter if the Browns are 7-5 and 6-6 after this game, it's going to be a long 2 weeks, and it's going to be very difficult to get to sleep tonight watching this game tonight. Now, if they do go to 7-5, if they get the win, it's going to be a long week because we're so excited, and they finally found. Maybe they found that momentum that they can take into the bye week, and we saw what this team looked like after getting that week off, after Kevin Stefanski and the coaching staff really had a chance to look at things without having a game plan for a team. And yes, it comes later in the season, but if they go to 6-6, it's going to be a long 2 weeks because I'm telling you right now, and I'm putting this on record, and I don't care if I'm wrong. Sometimes I don't make predictions only because of my superstitions with my teams. But I'm going to make somewhat of a prediction right now. And again, I'm rooting for myself to be wrong, just like I always do. I'm okay telling you that I'm wrong. There are a lot of people in this industry that don't like to tell you they're wrong, and they're going to find a way to fit their narrative some way or somehow. If the Browns lose this game tonight, especially if they're so frustrated and just ready for the bye week, almost like a Detroit Lions team that hasn't won a game that would love to get to their bye week, someone that's already on vacation time and not really caring and trying to get to that week off and get their body right and spend time with family and not have to worry about the frustrations being in the building all the time. That's what we saw last year in that game. I think it was against the Raiders before the bye week. Is that correct? That terrible weather game before the bye week, was that the Raiders when they went to 5-3?
It was like hurricane winds and stuff like that.
I know the weather played a big factor, but it seemed like a team that was ready for a bye week and not disciplined, not focused, and that's on the coaching staff, that's on players' execution. That's the whole story lumped all in together. I don't want to see a team like that, and we'll get into the keys later. But if that's what happens tonight and this team loses, I'm going to have a hard time even having any faith that the team can win the remaining games with the schedule that they have. Because guess what? Out of the bye week, look who you have. You got the Baltimore Ravens again. And if they win tonight, then they're going to have a lot of momentum going into Pittsburgh. They beat Pittsburgh. Now they're 9-3, coming back to face a 6-6 team that, is down their luck and heads down and everything like that. So you got the Baltimore Ravens. You got the Las Vegas Raiders. You have to go to Green Bay on Christmas Day. And then you finish the year with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. The division's already tough enough, so you still have, starting tonight, but after the bye week, you still have your other 3 divisional games, plus a game against the Raiders, who just won on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys, and that offense, we know how they've been clicking and trying to get back on the same page and the stuff they've gone through. Green Bay going up to Lambeau in late December, probably going to be snowing. Against Aaron Rodgers, never easy to try to get that kind of win. So tonight is really going to have an impact on probably the approach and the mentality, no matter which side it might be for this team. If they lose tonight, it's hard for me to see another win on the schedule. I'm not saying they can't win, not going that far yet, but it's going to be very difficult for me to see another win on the schedule after tonight if they were to lose and lose big. If it's close, you have some things to kind of build on into the bye week, and again, another one of those 65, 66-yard field goals that you're taking the NFL percentages on, that you don't see those every day with your defense, then that's all well and good. But a blowout loss or even a 2-score loss to Baltimore and not playing well on national TV for everyone to see, again, very difficult to see another win on the schedule. I guess what could help the Browns is Jack Conklin or Kareem Hunt or even Donovan Peoples-Jones, Troy Hill, some of these guys getting back healthy. Jay, for you, out of those guys that you know are coming back tonight for this team, who can have the biggest impact? Who will have the biggest impact if the Browns are going to get the win tonight?
Oh, without a doubt, it's Kareem Hunt, the Tasmanian devil himself. The dude is like, he is the spark plug of that offense. If Jarvis is the glue that holds it together, he's the spark plug that gets it going, man. We've missed him so much. Look at our offense and how much has fallen off since he's been injured. But, I mean, it really helps when you get an all-pro tackle back, too. Don't get me wrong. And I like what Troy Hill's done this year, but it's Kareem Hunt without a doubt.
Peter?
See, it's a real toss-up for me because I think, Hunt definitely brings a lot of explosiveness, and being able to rotate him with Chubb really just, they're both great backs, but they have different styles, and I think it drives defenses crazy trying to, plan for both of those guys. But getting Conklin back too, you just look at how badly Baker's been beaten up and how poorly the line at times has performed. Solidifying that line, it really all depends, right? It depends on what's the game plan for today. Are we going mostly run? Then Hunt's going to be a bigger impact. Are we doing a lot of pass? Then it's going to be Conklin. Is going to have a bigger impact. So,
I guess only to play devil's advocate, if you're focusing on the run or the pass, I think Kareem Hunt is still going to have a huge impact because he is that guy. They use more catching out of the backfield. That Chubb can catch out of the backfield.
He's a phenomenal blocker too. Don't get that wrong.
He is.
That dude is a really good blocker out of the backfield.
And that's a credit to this coaching staff too. You have a lot of guys who are already willing to block, but I guess that mentality, that discipline to be willing to give up for teammates to go block for them. And even when OBJ was here, that was one thing that you have to give him a lot of credit for. He was willing to do that out there on the edge. He knew that the run game was good. Jarvis does it. Kareem Hunt is a good blocker out of the backfield. Nick Chubb will do that. And these guys, Chubb and Hunt, are rooting for each other all the time. For me, I'm looking at Jack Conklin as a bigger impact because Blake Hance has been, some guy named Blake. Yeah, he came in a big spot last year and played well. And because he didn't know what he didn't know, and the league about him didn't know what they didn't know about him, how he kind of fit into the scheme, kind of his approach, his aggressiveness, his mean streak, blocking along that offensive line. Now, especially being out there on the edge, Bill Callahan, the offensive line coach, has even said, not as a detriment to Blake Hance, but that's on the edges is not where he can succeed at. He's better interior at that guard position, so it's kind of been asking him to do more than he may be even capable of, but it's just the situation they found themselves in. I love Kareem Hunt, and I want to see him come back and have a big impact tonight, and I think he can. I think for me, I may see Jack Conklin have a bigger impact because he is a veteran, and while the game speed might be, they both may have some time to adjust to that coming off of injury, Kareem Hunt, also a veteran. I just think along that offensive line for what your role is and what you're actually doing, the dirty work in the trenches, I think he can kind of find a way to find his way into the game. Kareem Hunt might take a little bit longer to find his second wind and get into the game. Both can have an impact. I just think for the pressure that Baker's been under and trying to keep him clean in the pocket, give him time to really set his feet, get those mechanics on point with how he's had to adjust with all the injuries, I think Jack Conklin can have the biggest impact. Defensively, Troy Hill coming back, he's done some good things over there, but defensively, just as a unit, they gotta play better, and they've had plenty of guys over there. That's a unit that has to up their game with the guys that have been there. We'll talk more about the defense later on. There's been, comments made about JOK, a guy that people thought would stop Lamar Jackson. We'll get into what the keys are to stopping that offense from Baltimore and getting the win tonight. We'll talk about that in the final segment and give game predictions. Who knows? I might even step up tonight or this morning. Wow, I don't even know what time of day it is. Little tease. I might give a prediction. Whether it has a score attached to it or not, I don't know. I have a half hour to think about that. But on the other side of our second break, we are going to get into Around the League. We'll talk about how much football we actually watched and maybe our thoughts on the games from Thanksgiving and give some predictions for the games going on around the league. Maybe even drop some news about some inactives that may come through on our phones so that we can help you set your fantasy lineups, as we are on at a time that you have to set your fantasy lineups. It's 90 minutes till kickoff of the 1 o'clock games. Inactives will be coming through soon. We will talk more about all of that on the other side of this break, and you'll get a special message on maybe you need that last-minute holiday gift. You look no further than voiceofland.com/shop. We'll have more details on what you can find there for your holiday gift ideas. This is the Voice of Land on the Big Play Network.
Are you struggling to hire the right talent or maybe even find the right career? Vector Technical makes it easy. Since 1992, Vector has provided Ohio employers with a reliable process for hiring and have helped thousands of job seekers advance in their careers. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. We invest time to get to know each client and candidate personally. Vector places people in job opportunities that they are truly excited about. Interested in learning more? Visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com to see a full list of our current job opportunities and to find out what Vector Technical can offer you.
Get your gear at voiceoftheland.com/shop.
Welcome back to the Voice of the Land here on the Big Play Network, doing a pregame show. Don't adjust your eyes if you're scrolling through Twitter or Facebook and you see our faces live right now on social media or even on YouTube. Don't worry, you're not dreaming. We are actually live. Or if you're watching us on replay at 7 o'clock, boy, did you miss a heck of a show, and keep tuning in to the rest because I'm sure there's even more good stuff to come. But yeah, we went live, or we are live at 11:33 in the morning, and it's 11:33 your time to remind you that that team up north still sucks as good as they were yesterday. Moving into the NFL and our Around the League segment, on Thursday we had the 3 football games. First, quickly, start with Jay, just kind of go around. How much football did you guys actually watch on Thanksgiving?
I mean, for the most part, I watched the first 2 games. I didn't watch the late game. I passed out. I didn't get my normal Thanksgiving nap in, so I crashed fairly early.
Peter?
Oh, geez. We watched, I think, all 3 games, or at least parts of them, and it was, I don't know, man, I was kind of in a turkey coma for, for a bit there, so lots of good food. The football was, I honestly don't even remember much of what happened on Thanksgiving. During the football, I was just kind of sitting in a recliner at my brother-in-law's and eating good food and, enjoying time with family, so.
Yeah,
that was by far the most invested I was in the games because I played DraftKings. I think I was 9 points away from winning $1,000. Like I said, I wanted to watch that 3rd game, but I'm just like, huh?
Well, I mean, it was pretty much of a
it
was pretty much a snoozer from one side, anyways. I mean, Buffalo that getting beat the week before, they came out with a purpose and they beat up Trevor Siemian and the New Orleans Saints that night. They won 31-6, and it wasn't even it. I think it was maybe like 10 or 17-0 at halftime. It didn't even feel that close, honestly, at halftime. And I only watched the first half of that game. I watched a little bit. Excuse me. I watched a little bit of the Detroit and Chicago game, the Bears and Lions. Boy, what a trash game that was, too. I mean, Andy Dalton going up. Luckily, Jared Goff played for the Lions, so gave him a little bit more of a chance. But, I mean, there really wasn't much to write home about that one with. The good part for me was...
Can we break the tradition of having Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving? Like, I don't care if it's traditional or not. It's traditionally the worst game of the day. That's what it's traditionally is.
Yeah, they're perennially one of the worst teams in the league, and you got to sit there and like if you want football on Thanksgiving, and that's kind of your tradition is to sit there with your family or your friends, wherever you're with your loved ones, to watch football until the meal's ready, or you're watching while the meal's ready. Because I know some people eat earlier in the day, some people eat later in the day, but at some point you got to give, if the NFL really wants people to tune in, you got to give a little bit better product than the Lions until they maybe get good and earn it. Like, at least I know that it ends up still being some of the same teams, but at least the NBA tries to pick some different teams, and they try to go with who they expect to be some of the better teams on Christmas Day for those games. Like, if you're going to have a 3-game window on that Thursday, why not?
That's like them playing the Kings every day, every Christmas. Like, we're going to put the Sacramento Kings on every Christmas.
Yeah, you can even say the Cavaliers during the Cavalier times where they're not so good. But right now they're fun to watch. So that'd actually be a fun team to watch on Christmas Day or any day. If only the team would allow you to, and Bally Sports would allow you to actually see the games consistently enough, and their app would work, or everybody had access no matter what streaming service or cable service they had. Guess what? It's 2021, Cavs and Guardians, and Bally Sports. There's streaming services out there. Not everybody has old school cable, so I would appreciate.
Hey Hulu, you got live sports? You don't have my live sports.
Hey, YouTube TV, you got live sports. You don't got my live sports. Man, for as cheap as Dolan is, I'd like to see maybe sometimes at least open up these games to other networks so that we can actually see them. Because I don't know what it is, but they won't. That's a whole tangent I can get on that I'm not going to go down that road. But I would like to see some different teams on Thanksgiving. Like, keep the tradition of football, but maybe some different teams and some better games. We got a really good game in the second one. Las Vegas versus Dallas. Raiders winning in overtime 36-33. Derek Carr came out with a purpose in that one. They said that they wanted to find consistency again on their offense, and they did. That was probably the game of the day and the only one to really watch.
And didn't help us by any means, but
no,
it was entertaining.
No, but at least to try to be entertained. Like, I'm sitting there in the living room with Grandpa, and of course him coming home, and been going through some health problems recently, but feeling a little bit better. Being able to kind of just sit there and enjoy sports with the guy that kind of is the reason I'm doing what I'm doing right now, and trying to get into this full time. That was special to kind of have him around and just the family time. So some good football. I would say maybe 50% though of the game, of actual game time throughout the day. I actually watched, if that. More of the time was spent with family and friends, and we want to be among the last to wish you a happy Thanksgiving and be among the first to wish you a happy holiday season. I believe Hanukkah is starting this weekend, I believe. So
I think so.
So a happy holiday season already starting to everyone out there, no matter what you celebrate and how you guys get together. A happy holiday season to everyone from us at the Voice of the Lamb. Today on the NFL slate, one of the big games in the 1 o'clock time slot, that is in the AFC North on CBS at 1 o'clock. Steelers, Bengals. Jay, this game is in Cincinnati. How do you see this one going?
I think Cincinnati is going to just boat race them, to be honest. Who did they last lose to? Was that us, Cincinnati? And they went on bye?
Yeah, well, yeah, because they went on a bye, and then I think they came back and didn't they beat Vegas last week, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure.
I'm going to their schedule right now. So, just how do you see this one going, though?
I see Cincinnati winning big today, mainly because I also just hate the Steelers. But
yeah, I mean, when you have two teams in your own division playing against each other, as close as this division is, it's not going to help either team. But the Browns will see who wins that game. They'll see the result and kind of, know this is. If we can get to 7-5, this is where we'll be. This is the teams that we'll be with in this division, and kind of what they really need to do if they're going to turn things around to try to win the division or even get in the playoffs. Bengals did beat the Raiders last week, kind of boat raced them a little bit, 32-13. So that's
Steelers tied the Lions last. That's all I got to say.
Well, there was Mason Rudolph at quarterback too, so they had a pretty good game Sunday
Who I
night.
think is probably better than Ben Roethlisberger at this point.
Well, I think it was last Sunday night. It was Steelers versus Chargers. That was a pretty good game. Chargers, of course, beating them just like they beat us. Justin Herbert getting that win. But that was offensively, that was kind of what people tune in to NFL games for. Elsewhere around the league, another big game, 1 o'clock, Titans-Patriots, a big one in the AFC. Titans coming off of a loss. Patriots, I believe, on a 5-game win streak, including that big one against us.
Looking like the best team in the AFC right now.
Yeah, Peter, those 2 games, Steelers-Bengals, Patriots.
No A.J. Brown in the for the Titans this week. He's on IR now.
Yeah.
Well, I think, I'm in my mind, I'm trying to figure out, like, what's the best scenario for us for this, Bengals-Steelers game. It's like, is a tie the best thing that we can hope for in this one? Because,
Yeah, it's like it's hard to figure out like what's the best scenario for all these AFC games.
So they can't both lose, but they could both not win. So
give the Steelers 2 ties,
right? Which would be hilarious, I think. Yes, I'm not sure. I think that, most likely the Bengals are going to win that game. I just don't think the Steelers, we should have beat them. I mean, that was just a mess, that game we had against them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Bengals definitely should be able to take care of business there. Like I said, maybe a tie is the best I can hope for, and to help the Browns along.
Yeah.
As far as Titans, New England, I think the Patriots are going to handle that one pretty well.
Yeah, they are. They're at least a touchdown favorite. I mean, they're at home, so you get. I know that they always say I'm not big on sports betting, and you can't even do it in Ohio anyways. But I know you get 3 points automatically by being the home team. So they're at 7.5 point favorites. So you at 4.5 extra points there. So everybody's kind of riding that
Julio
Patriots win streak.
No Julio Jones, no A.J. Brown, no Derrick Henry. No luck for the Titans.
It's that Patriots defense that has been that's been their catalyst, honestly. And then they're finding their run game, so that's helping out the rookie quarterback. But it's that defense.
They remind me of when they won their first Super Bowl with Tom Brady a lot. That team is very similar.
Yeah, and that's why they spend all that money.
Huge names on defense, but they play so well.
Well, everybody kind of made fun of them for spending all that money in the offseason. Well, this is why. This is what we thought the Browns spending money on defense was going to kind of amount to, finding a way in this kind of middle spot of the year, them finding a rhythm. Maybe if the offense kind of was up and down, the defense finding their rhythm and kind of leading them to some wins. We haven't seen that.
Can you imagine Bill Belichick with this roster? Yikes.
Oh, boy.
The thing is, this with the Patriots kind of getting their footing here again, it's just going to reignite the debate about, was it Belichick or Brady? So
yeah, I will be as they say with the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. I will be staying away with that, keeping myself within a 10-foot pole radius. Or longer
I think that's kind of an interesting thing, because Brady went and he ended up winning the Super Bowl last year. What happens if New England somehow runs away with it and wins it this year? Because then it's
with last year, Brady went to a perfect situation for him, and Belichick lost all his players to COVID. I didn't compare those two situations, to be honest. And with there comes the legacy, they both had a lot to do with them winning all those Super Bowls.
Yeah,
I don't think one does it without the other.
No, it was kind of just the perfect time. Those two coming together, perfect time, perfect place, and working well together. And then Brady just using his experience and his veteran leadership with a talented Tampa Bay roster, and they just found a way to kind of mimic some of that discipline and everything. The Patriots basically used the Patriots way as a philosophy in the Buccaneers locker rooms last year. 1 o'clock last game, kind of look at one to stay away from today. The trash game of the day: Jets Texans, both 2-8 on the season. So
the loser of that game is whoever has to watch it.
That's right. That's exactly right. As we get into the 4 o'clock time slot, 3 games on the on the docket there. I'll read them off. You guys tell me which one you're looking at and make a prediction in that game, all right? So we don't have to make a prediction on all of them. So we have Chargers Broncos at 4:05, Rams at the Packers at 4:25, and Vikings at the 49ers, both 5-5 teams there. Which one stands out to you, Jay, and who do you see winning that game?
You got to go through this one more time. I apologize.
Chargers Broncos AFC West matchup at 4:05. Rams.
Chargers Broncos. That was the one I wanted.
Okay.
Just because it has so much to do with our playoff situation. So I kind of hope the Chargers start running away with that and get Denver out of our way because, frankly, I hate Denver too.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, among the teams are all in the hunt, and AFC West is another hotly contested division, just like the AFC North is. So Chargers, Broncos, Rams, Packers, Vikings, 49ers. Peter, which one stands out to you?
I think Chargers, Broncos for basically the same reason. Like, we're getting to the point in the season where, if the Browns can't win the AFC North, we got to, root for the other teams that are in the hunt to kind of get pushed out of the way.
Yeah.
So,
and that's of course, unfortunately, because Browns missed opportunities early in the season, and now they found themselves in this spot. So now they can only take care of the business they have in front of them, and then let the fans do the scoreboard watching. But we're in this scenario, and that's kind of where we have to be. Just to be different. I'll go Rams Packers because that is probably what a lot of people see as the game of the day. Rams at 7-3, Packers at 8-3. This one in Lambeau. I don't know. I didn't really see if it was supposed to snow or not today, like it is here.
It's Lambeau, most
up
likely.
In Wisconsin. So it might be, but I mean, Matthew Stafford versus Aaron Rodgers up there in Green Bay.
OBJ gets to work with them after a whole bye week.
Yeah, so that's an interesting storyline to look at if you're here in Cleveland and you're still kind of paying attention to what OBJ is doing out there. I'm not. I wish the best for him. I'm past that point. I don't really care. I just wish the best.
DraftKings is the only reason I pay attention.
Yeah.
I started them for real cheap. I was like, why not?
Fantasy football, daily leagues, that's the only reason to really look at that. But Rams Packers is probably that. Definitely a highlight game, but Chargers Broncos has a little bit more impact on Browns' chances to make the playoffs, or even kind of what direction they need to go, whether wild card or look at AFC North. Of course, the Browns tonight at 8:20. We will get into that one a little bit more on the other side, make our predictions, give our keys to the game. Quickly, Monday night is Seattle at Washington. Both teams under 500. So, I know that Monday Night Football and ESPN was expecting for both teams to maybe be in a better spot. You get what you get when you make that schedule. So,
At least we haven't been as underwhelming as those two have been.
Yeah, Seahawks probably one of the most underwhelming teams around the league. They did go through that stretch where they had to have Geno Smith at quarterback instead of Russell Wilson, but since Russell's been back, it hasn't looked good. Tyler Lockett, they're, kind of that safety valve like Jarvis Landry is for us. I've had him on my fantasy teams. I always told my sister, buy me one of those bright green Tyler Lockett jerseys if Tyler Lockett ever helps me win a fantasy league. Does not look like that's going to happen this year, so that will not be under the tree or being sent from Washington to Ohio this season, or maybe it will. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what my sister bought for me, but looking forward to her being here in a week and a half for a new job she just got. So she'll be back in town, kind of helping out. So it's been good to kind of have her around. So that's the bigger thing. So I'll root for Seattle in that one, just for my sister's sake. That's all. That's all I'll say about that game. But we have a little bit more.
I just don't like Dan Snyder. I'll never root for Washington, dude.
Yeah.
I can't stand their owner.
That's another good point. So with that is our Around the League segment. We do need to get back into one final segment of Browns versus Ravens in prime time on NBC tonight at 8:20. A big AFC North matchup tonight. We know what happened when the Browns and Ravens met on Monday Night Football on primetime last year. Will we get another game like that? We'll find out the guys' predictions and keys to the game on the other side of our last break. This is the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network.
Are you looking for a career in manufacturing? Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that is partnered with some of the biggest and the best companies throughout northeastern Ohio. The recruiters at Vector Technical will coach you through the entire job process and will help you land an opportunity that you are truly excited about. Vector does not add any additional fees and offers benefits as well as free online skills training through Penn Foster. To learn more, visit www.vectortechnicalinc.com and make sure to check out our job board to see a full list of our current opportunities and apply.
Welcome back to the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network. One final segment here for your Browns post-game show. Doing a pregame show today in the morning before the Browns take on the Ravens, just to make Jay laugh again, in prime time on NBC.
Prime time.
On NBC at 8:20 tonight. Kickoff set for then. And Jay, before we get into predictions for this one, also looking through the comments, we did have at least one person join us this morning. Jared Bates from Illegal Hand to the Face and Dog's Table, our friend of show and
That's our guy.
Special guest host, of course, special filling guy when we need him. Call the bullpen, Jared Bates. He did say morning, gents. So good morning to you, Jared, and your family. Hopefully you guys had a great Thanksgiving or having a great holiday weekend as well. Just like everyone tuning in, whether on video on Twitter at VTL_pod, on YouTube, Voice of the Land Podcast, or Big Play's Facebook page, Voice of the Land Facebook page, or if you're tuned into the audio on your favorite podcast platform. Jay, tonight, Browns, Ravens, keys to the game for the Browns to try to get to 7-5.
The biggest key of the game, you got to contain Lamar Jackson. You cannot let him play hero ball and have one of these games where he throws for 300, runs for 100, and 5 touchdowns. And this ain't like the before where they had just crappy receivers. Hollywood Brown's coming around. Rashard Bates is a good receiver. Sammy Watkins is a veteran. And their tight end has destroyed us since he's been in the league. We just have to contain Lamar Jackson. You're not going to stop him, but you can contain him.
I know the resident doctor of the show would like to see, maybe like to see at least the tight end have some big numbers that doesn't amount to a win for the Ravens, just amounts to a fantasy win for her. That is Jana Fenstermaker, my fiance and resident doctor of the show. But yeah, trying to. There's a lot of pieces.
Garbage time points.
Yeah, garbage time. Maybe having they're down. Lamar's got to throw. He's going to throw to Mark Andrews.
Points. And he gets 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter for nothing, no reason. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, that's always sounds good. Peter, keys to the game tonight.
I agree. I think we have to just stop Lamar. You can't have these third and longs and just let him run up the middle for 20 yards. I mean, I'd like to see a lot of pressure on him. I'd like to see him not have time to make a throw or decide to run. I want to see a lot of pressure from our defensive front. Blitzing. I mean, I feel like when the Browns actually decide to call blitzes, they do really well with them, but they don't do it very often. And I think with Lamar, it's got to be constant pressure. You can't give him time to scan the field and decide to just tuck it and run for 20 yards, because he will. So it's really just increased constant pressure on Lamar, and hopefully our defensive backs can provide really good coverage where he doesn't have, he doesn't even have the option to throw. So
I'll give you guys 3 keys to the game tonight: run the ball, discipline, and defensive intensity with high focus. Run the ball. What I'm saying is, yes, Kareem Hunt's coming back. You can't expect him to be full. People can't expect him to be exactly Kareem Hunt right away. If he is, great. Like, that's extra addition to this team that we have needed for the past several weeks that he has been out. But the balance of him, Nick Chubb, Dearness Johnson, running the football, staying consistent and staying in tune to that, using that to then get your pass game going to allow for whether the RPOs or more so the fakes. Baker is so good with those fakes when it's, kind of fake the handoff and kind of hide that football to kind of set up these bootlegs or throws down the field. The running attack is going to be huge to keep, even though this defense for the Ravens is really good, and they know we're going to run
They're
the
the
ball.
number 2 run defense in the league right now, and you are the number 1 rushing team. Let's see what you can do, Browns.
Put best versus best. What if you feel like and you have the confidence in your run game to still get the job done, even if the first run of the game is only for a yard? Don't go away from it. That was a problem with the Buckeyes yesterday. They went away from the rushing attack with Travion Henderson, the big-time freshman running back. There wasn't enough balance yesterday with a team where you needed to establish the run and also defend the run. They didn't do either one. The Browns are going to need to establish the run and defend the run tonight. So establish your run game. Discipline. You can't commit penalties. You can't commit turnovers. You're on the road. Hostile environment. Everybody's watching. That stadium in Baltimore is going to be full to the max. Everybody in their ugly-looking purple and black uniforms and paint and whatever, they're going to be at full volume when you're on offense. And even when their team makes big plays, the big plays are going to happen. You got to stay disciplined. Yes, maybe a big play happens here or there. You got to minimize those. Defensively, you got to bring an intensity, but also defensive discipline, defensive focus. Lamar Jackson can escape. Your offense gets you some points. You get up in the game, you're leading. We've seen the Ravens come back this year. You cannot let up at any point with Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews and some of those receivers on the edge. You cannot let up. Whatever the defensive attack is, you need to be intense and focused with it. If it's not working right away, Joe Woods, you better get those in-game adjustments. Kevin Stefanski, you better get those in-game adjustments going. And as an additional key, Baker, let's go see you perform and use some of that anger or maybe some frustration. Fuel it. You're saying you're feeling better? Let's actually see it tonight. Let's go show something on a national stage. What will they show? Always Positive Jay, I send it over to you first. Your prediction, Browns, Ravens, how does this one go tonight?
I think the Browns are going to have to come out and show everyone how physical we can be. Like I said, they are the number 2 run defense, and you are the number 1 run offense. And I want to see them come out and just run all over them and show them you can't stop us even though you're trying to stop us. With that said, I see the Browns winning 24-14 today.
24-14 Browns for Always Positive Jay. Peter, do you agree, disagree? Where do you see this one headed tonight?
I think it's going to be, I don't know if I'd say it's even going to be closer. I think it's going to be maybe a 1-score game, but I like the Browns, and I'm thinking if we can establish that run game and really, be the offense that we're built to be, I think the Browns are going to score 35. I think it's going to be something like 35-28 Browns.
So you're all on the Browns. Go ahead, Jay.
Key I have to this game, one more key. Do not let Justin Tucker have a chance. You don't give them the ball last. You have to have the ball last. You have to kneel. You have to get in victory formation because that guy will hit a game winner no matter where he is, man. Within 60 yards, that guy's money.
Always seems to happen against us too.
Justin
those kind of moments.
Tucker, man.
Easy there.
Hey, I've been preparing. I wasn't going to slip.
All right. We hold certain standards of this show that we do stay consistent and focused on. We stay intense with.
I have yet to swear. It's my goal all year.
At some point, it's probably going to happen.
Even Peter slipped.
It's going to happen on the bye week, probably. That's that's when you make all your adjustments. So right. Let one slip so you have something to adjust with. It's all well and good, but you're all on the Browns.
Yep.
I'm sorry, guys, I can't. I'm going to make a prediction, and people can, kind of tweet at me. They can call me out. I don't care. It's at Kevin7, KEVANINSEVAN on Twitter. Don't care. I'm rooting for myself to be wrong. I'm trying to take the brown and orange glasses off, orange and brown glasses, and gear metaphorically off for a second and look at reality like we do all the time on this show. the way the Browns are playing going in on the road tonight, they are going to have to flip some sort of switch tonight for this team to have a chance in this game. And if they win, I will be the first one to go on Twitter, and I will go on Twitter before I go to sleep. I was wrong on the VTL pod presented by Vector Technical on the Big Play Network. I will tweet that out tonight. I am making that statement right now. I have Ravens 31, Browns 17, 2-score game at least tonight up there in Baltimore, and a lot of answers and question marks, and unfortunately a long, arduous, possibly 2 weeks ahead as all of these conversations we have to have again over the bye week for the Browns. Yes, Jay?
Just keep those thumbs nice and stretched out for that text or that tweet later, buddy.
I'm ready, man. I'm not going to go into this game rooting for my prediction to be right. Like, I know a lot of people
I appreciate your honesty. I swear to God. And someone just got into it with Emmett Golden on Twitter, and he just started going off on him and just saying some really crappy things. It's like, dude, if someone just it's an opinion. Like, who cares? It's not that big of a deal.
Our lives.
Like, oh, you're supposed to be our home team, and you're not giving homer takes. Like, no, he's giving it an honest take.
Yeah.
You want him to lie to you?
I saw that yesterday, and we see that a lot, and that's one of the detriments of Twitter and why I hate going on there. Not because I can't handle people calling me out for being wrong or disagreeing with me. I'm willing to have all these conversations all we want. We don't always agree on this show.
Constructive criticism is one thing. Don't call people out of their names.
Yeah,
that's all I ask for.
Stop going to the personal route. Stop taking your disagreements.
Hey, man, you want to meet up and box about it? Like,
right.
Dude, no one wants to meet up and box about it, dude. I'm sorry.
Stop making it so personal and wanting to fight everybody. Again, disagreements are going to happen. That's the beauty of sports conversations. That's the beauty of conversations in America, people. You can disagree, but understand why the person on the other side has the opinion that they do. That's another thing. Opinions are opinions. I'm sick of people trying to tell others that their opinion is wrong when it's just an opinion. If I go to the Webster Dictionary, opinion's not going to have the word fact as a synonym. Or if I go to a thesaurus, opinion and fact are not going to be synonyms. They are antonyms, meaning opposite. I'm allowed to have opinions and tell you what I am thinking based on looking at reality. And if you disagree, we can have conversations on why. Understand why I have the take I do. I will definitely understand and respect why you have the take that you do. Stop taking...
And if you have a civil conversation and you want someone's opinion to change, be civil, give great points, and guess what? Someone's opinion can change. It's not cemented into stone.
It is not.
Never be changed. Like I say, man, if you're a know-it-all, you leave yourself no space to grow. So always listen to the other person because they might know something you don't.
And game predictions are opinions on how a game's going to go based on the information you have before. And if that opinion...
And it's not going to have any outcome on the game.
It is not.
Believe it or not. Whatever we say will have nothing to do with the game. Whatever you say will have nothing to do with the game.
And guess what? When I'm watching the game tonight, I'm going to have orange and brown gear on. I'm going to be barking like a dog. I'm going to be yelling at my TV for the Browns to win.
Probably be on the ground, hyperventilating if I know you.
Nobody sees the way I actually fan. The people that do get to see that know how intense and how deep-rooted my fandom here in Cleveland and for Cleveland sports, Ohio sports, truly is. I don't need to explain that to people.
Just videotape me.
Yeah.
I go nuts. I yell, and no one's even in the room. I watch it most of the time by myself. I'm swearing at the TV or cheering with the TV, jumping up, fist pumping like a madman. That's how we are. We're all Browns fans, but we got an opinion. Who cares?
That's the only reason my mom was happy. When I finally moved out of the house, that was the only reason she was happy. So she didn't have to watch me fan during games. Our lives are being Cleveland sports fans. But doing a show like this and being in the industry that we are and trying to build more into that industry, like all three of us are, and how I've been so open about that here on this show, it is to be honest and be as unbiased as possible based on what is going on. I think that the Ravens are going to win tonight, unfortunately, because we haven't seen enough from the Browns. They win tonight, and that, my opinion, my prediction, proves to end up being wrong at the end. I will gladly say I was wrong, because I will always, from the day I was born till whenever life says that, or God says, or whoever you believe in says this world is done or whatever, I will be a Cleveland sports fan. I will be a Browns fan, Cavs fan, Guardians fan, Ohio State fan. It does not matter, but I will also always tell you when a team that we root for is not playing well or when they are playing well, I will be honest and give you every single thing that I see and give you the reality check. That is what we're trying to do here. We're not here to yell at each other. We're not here to yell at you, and I know I'm getting loud and boisterous, and we're going a little extra long.
I'm a little loud. I'm kind of yelling at people, I guess.
Kind of, but we're yelling, we're getting loud to make the point that this show is an open space to have opinions, feel comfortable with those opinions, and even if they're different from everybody else, to bring those to us, have those conversations. We'll have those conversations right back. And if things get heated...
Kevin, you picked the Baltimore Ravens, right?
I did.
Because it's the rational pick. The reason I picked the Browns is because everything should be going against them. They should lose this game. Therefore, they will win the game. That's just how they roll. But rational thinking, you're right.
And whether I'm right or I'm wrong, I'm going to hate if I'm right. I'm going to love if I'm wrong. That's the way it goes. But I also understand you and Peter picking the Browns, because guess what? The Browns have also shown us when everything's going against them, when everything seems lost, something happens and they find a way to win that game. So I understand from your guys' perspective, giving you guys my perspective. We all understand, we all respect. And that's why this show is what sports talk is supposed to be about, and not all those national television shows that so many people retweet and give credit to when it's just guys just trying to get ratings. They're trying to get you to click and like it. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're actually trying to create an open space to really get back to what sports mean to us deep in our hearts, deep in our souls. And that is what the Voice of the Land has always been about, always will be about, just like we will have always and will always hate that team up north, hate the Pittsburgh Squealers, and hate the Baltimore Ratbirds as we will tonight. But that is going to wrap it up for this edition of the Voice of the Land, your Browns post-game show on the Big Play Network. Now a pregame show today, presented by Vector Technical and DP Construction LLC. For my man, always positive Jay, our producer extraordinaire Peter Tellep, I'm Kevin All, reminding all of you, as always, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. And as the Marvel fans we are, but also in these times as we go through Thanksgiving and into the holiday season, we truly love you all. 3,000. We will see you all next week for our special bye-week edition of the Voice of the Land here on the Big Play Network.